Hi guys, Bob here, and in this video we're going to be looking at Sketchbook Pro in 2023. Now the version I am using, let's just check, is the one that came out on the 20th of September 2023, 9.0.34. You can get this on iOS and on Android, I believe. This is on the PC, and I'm hoping to be covering some of the things in tablet space when I get a chance. So let me just open up something I was working on recently in Sketchbook, not in Rebel. So let's bring this up. And I've just kind of copied and pasted some of these. I'm going to just merge and make this file. So this is how you would get your layers. You can see here, and you access the layers through this menu. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to ungroup. Now there's a little guy here. Let me just try and zoom in. You can see you get all these little tag things in the middle, and then they give you things that you can do, and you can just hover over them and it'll tell you what it will do. So I'm going to ungroup these, and then I'm going to just delete some of them because I don't need any of them, so put it in the bin, leaving me with this layer and the background. Now I can turn on and off the layers using this. That's a wee bit of an introduction to the layers panel. The Lagoon gives us access to a number of features. Now you can get rid of the UI, or you can change the UI just by toggle full screen. That gets rid of your kind of menu bars, like you can no longer see the time or the top of the window, and it lets you move these out the road. Toggle full screen again. Full screen. It's not a movie. Lagoon to the right, so if you prefer it over on the right, you can do that. Toggle Lagoon, you can turn it off. Now I don't use the Lagoon that often, so I would probably turn it off. Zoom, rotate, 1:1, actual size, all this good stuff. But as I says, I don't really use the Lagoon, but it does give us the capability to remove some of these menus. But one of the things about Sketchbook is the default layout, the default look to it is really cool. You've come into Sketchbook, you want to draw, pick your pencil and then draw away. Let's turn to, you've got like markers, which are really cool. You've got the airbrush, one of the coolest things. I can do some of my subtle colouring and the subtle shadows just to make things look even better. Now airbrush is really cool. There's like pens. That's me brought up the brush creator thing. You've got an eraser, and you've got blenders. Now blenders are one of the most useful tools in Sketchbook. That one not so much because it's quite solid. It's quite a harsh blender, and some of them are a bit more subtle. We've got charcoal. We've got some paint brushes. These are some of my favourites, especially to get a kind of more traditional look. There's one called Concept, which I really like. It's kind of like this one. And so that's your paint brushes. Now if you go in here, you can get access to the brush library, and one of the things that I did was I downloaded this, or installed this paintbrush set. So let's get rid of that. Do you want to delete this brush set? I'll just say yes. Now if I zoom in just to show you a bit clearer, you click this and you go to import brush set. Let's just zoom the screen across a bit. Import brush set. That'll then give you access to somewhere where you've maybe downloaded your Sketchbook stuff. Creamy pastels, let's see what that looks like, and it gives us these creamy pastels. Let's just get those pencils back and we just do the same thing again. Let's go for blue pencils, and if I zoom down, you'll see I've now got access to these different pencils of different grading. So you've got your 2B, 3B, 4B, and so on and so forth, so that you can just choose them if you're used to pencil drawing. So that's the brush sets. Now there's a different options here. You can copy brushes, you can delete brushes. So let's say new brush set, delete brush set. So if you want to set up your own brush set, just go new brush set. You can double click it, you can call it what you like. You don't want to mess around with this, so you decide to go, I want this brush and I want to copy it, copy brush, and then you can just grab it and put it into your own set. You can do a thing called shuffle. You can click this button, it will shuffle between the pens and the pencils in that set, which is a really cool feature. It doesn't sound useful, but if you're trying to get some variation to your drawing, it can really make the difference, especially in other types of brush sets or your own custom hair brush set. So if you've got like 4 brushes for hair but you don't want to keep using the same one because it keeps giving you the same look, get them in there, hit the shuffle button, and away we go. So you can pin different, if I want to pin this, I can just use pin set palette and it'll come up here. The puck here, like I've said, is for if you put your cursor into it, your pen into it, you can increase the size of the brush, you can lower the size, and then you can increase and lower the opacity, as you can see down the bottom. So let's get on to all the other features. Let's just go through the menus. We can obviously do our usual print, save, all that good stuff. Edit menu, this is where you'd want to go if you've got issues with your stylus, so if you want less pressure, but you can also do that in the brush creator. Preferences, again, if you've got an issue, come in here, have a look around, check everything looks okay. You can make some changes in there. We might go into that in detail another day. On image, we've got image size, canvas size. We can adjust things. This one's probably one of the more useful menus that we would be looking to use. This is where you would look to, say, flip your canvas, and it just does what it says in the tin, or you can do some adjustments, so like brightness and contrast, which can give us some nice effects or changes to our drawings, making them look that wee bit more special. Again, it's quite a good idea to mirror your canvas to see if your drawing looks correct. So view, I guess one of the most ones that you'd maybe want to do is fit view. Window means you can bring up different things, so you can bring up the colour puck, so you can bring them back up, and this again gives us the ability to come in here and get different colours in a little smaller version of that or that. You can hit the tab key and just go full screen, do your drawing, hit the tab key. So let's look at these buttons here, and we've got undo, redo, just the usuals. We've got zoom. Now the zoom you can get by hitting the space bar, and this allows you to pan. It allows you to zoom in nice and slowly, which is lovely. Zoom in nice and slowly, and we can rotate. So if you want to rotate your drawing just to see, or to help you with your brush strokes, because you might have a particular way of moving your stylus, then you can use that feature. We've got a selection tool, and we've got our usual square. Now then allows us to only draw within that square. We've got our circle, and one of the features is over here on the right, so let's zoom in a wee bit. You can see these icons here, and again, hover over them, it'll give you an idea of what they do. So we can do an addition, so if we draw another circle, we just add, we can add, as you can see, or you can take away. We can delete our selection, leaving us with what you can see, and we can use likes of the lasso tool, or if you want straight edges, you can use like the polyline tool. So the magic tool is here, and it gives us different layers that we can select. So we can just select one layer. So if I was only to have these two faces, it'll only deal with working with the two that are on that layer. Looking at this, if you change this to select all layers, it will then change. Let's just go select. Let's close that selection. Let's try another selection. And now it's dealing with all layers. It's looking at all layers. It's not just looking at one, it's looking at all of them. We can crop. So if we wanted to crop the image just to this, we can hit enter, and that crops the picture to that point. I'm just using Ctrl Z to undo that. We've then got the kind of transform tool. So this is where you want to move stuff because we're not on that particular layer. So I can move it, I can scale it up, we can squash it. We've then got this ability to change things in a size wise, so you can see This moves this handle like this. Or if you want a perspective kind of skew, you can change this. We've then got the paint bucket, which gives us the ability to do gradients. So let me just go into this layer. We can do just a basic paint. Let's go with a slightly different colour. We can paint. We can then do gradients. And you can move the gradient line and blurriness using this little handle. We can turn it around, do what we like. It's quite nice, lovely. We can do a starburst, and again you can change the size of the starburst by using the little handle. It gives you this ability to come up with a stylized look. We can reverse it. Okay, so then we've got the text tool, and the text tool just does what it says in the tin. It's really not that exciting. It's quite a basic text tool. There's not a lot to it, but it gives you the ability to add text. Then get a ruler, and the ruler is one of the most useful rulers in any paint program that I've ever used. And you can see we can just start doing measured lines. And we can grab the ruler, move it around. But there's also these other rulers. So if we zoom in up here, you'll see you can choose a bendy ruler, which gives us the ability to make these nice curves, which is really good for if you're trying to do like the front of a car and you want a nice smooth angle. If you're doing some technical drawing, these are really good rulers for doing technical type drawings. There's also an ellipse. Again, just does what it says in the tin. And then there's these shapes which are kind of stencils, and again they're quite handy to use for doing cars, drawings of cars, any drawings of anything, spaceships with smooth surfaces, for if you're doing technical type drawing. So the next thing is the perspective tool. So if you wanted to draw a road, you can use the perspective tool. You can use a single point. You can draw some buildings along this road. So you can lock it. If you've got it in a particular place and you don't want to move it by accident, you can lock that position. So if I delete that and go for 2, unlock the 2. If you had a 2-point perspective, you can have a building going this way and a building going that way with the kind of road running along the front. And it can give you that basis for your drawing getting started. It can be a road running that way. And that's your 2-point perspective. So then you can incorporate all of these by using them with different tools like the mirror tool. And we can add and make some really cool symmetry. Now this here means I can draw over the lines and it keeps going. So you can get that lovely spiral effect. If you turn that off, it stops you going past the lines. You can obviously change as many as you want, and again you can turn that on and get some really lovely. Whee! It's quite satisfying actually. This icon I've not actually quite figured out yet. This one is very useful for drawing smooth lines, so if you're trying to draw some lovely smooth lines, this can really help you. And you can set the distance that the trail happens from, so that's quite a long distance. This here is predictive drawing, so if I was trying to draw a square, it'll draw and help me draw that square. It's not exact, and you can change that tolerance again. Draw a circle, and it'll just help you a wee bit. If you turn it right up and draw a circle, it'll make it into like either an oval or a circle depending on how close I get. This here is just drawing shapes. Oops. Circle, 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 circle. Really good for outlining comics and so on and so forth. So we then get UI disappear, so when we are drawing, you can make it that the UI disappears for a period of time. So if I'm in here and I'm drawing, and I want the UI to disappear because I'm drawing away, it'll stay away while I draw, which gives you a lovely clean screen. You don't have to hit any button, you just wait and then it'll come back after a set time. You can change that time via this slider. So if I want it kind of straight away, it disappears, it comes back. If I'm drawing, it comes back quickly. Layers just brings up the layers menu. Tools just brings up the tools over here. This is the color. Now I've done a video on my other channel going into the color in a lot of detail, so I'm not going to go into a lot here, but there is some of these color harmonies that you can use, and you can choose HSL, all that good stuff. You can get it to do random, like shuffle colors. Let's see if that works. Yep, which I think is again a fantastic feature to include. And then you've got custom colors where you can like import a picture and you can get the colors from that picture. So last thing I really want to look at is the ability to work with layers, and we can change our layers. So if I was to copy this layer, duplicate the layer, turn that one off. So this is my layer. I can change these to different types of layers. So we can change the different types of layers, but again, I'm going to leave that for another video. It could be going on forever and ever, this video, as it's an introduction to the UI. Hopefully it's been of use to you. Thank you very much for watching, and Wee Bob is out.